welcome back with another Terminator, but this time it's the spoiler review here. Hopefully you've seen the movie or you just don't give a damn about spoilers and you're going to watch it anyways, which I do, thank you. And if not, I would definitely say check out the movie when you can, come back, check out the video. But there is a spoiler-free one that's already out for you. Okay, so now you've been warned. So let's talk about the very first spoiler, which everybody seems like they're talking about on YouTube more than anything, is the thing with John Connor. What is my opinion about him being gunned down at the very beginning of this movie by a very younger Schwarzenegger? You know what? I have no problem with it. Now, even though it's a different timeline and all the Terminator sequels were different timeline, but what I look at compared to what someone else might say on YouTube is that in Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, that there was one point where Schwarzenegger even said to, I think it was Nick Skull who did it, that I kill you eventually. Now he's supposed to have killed him in the war, not in like 1998, I believe was the year, where they're in some kind of island or anything, because Sarah Connor's sitting at a table. There's, John Connor talking to a girl and getting a couple drinks for him and his mother there. And she has like this big smile on her face, like, we stopped Judgment Day and all that. And all of a sudden you see the big muscles and all that, like up to like close to the neck. And like you're thinking, this has got to be Schwarzenegger. And it was, And of course they show him as the younger version of himself. So the thing is that he just comes out of nowhere. John Connor turns around with his drinks, sees him. I believe he drops the drinks, and he just gets 2 bullets in the chest. Now, of course, Sarah, comes to his aid and, shoots the Terminator in his back a couple times, which, of course, ain't going to do anything. Terminator pretty much flips her up in the air, and she lands on her back. He drops the shotgun, and he walks away, kind of thing. So, there's Sarah Connor trying to hold on to her son, crying and all that, and there it goes. But yes, for me, it really doesn't bother me like other people. I get it that he was a beloved character, and of course Edward Furlong was probably one of the best ones who actually played John Connor. But the thing is that that's what happened. And I kind of look at it with the Terminator 3. Even though this is a different timeline and they're wiping out Terminator 3, John Connor finally, unfortunately, dies in this movie. What else can you say about it? Some people are pissed off about it, and I'm one of those people on the boat where I'm like, you know what? I'm perfectly fine with it. And that's kind of why that later on, like you see in the trailer, when Sarah Connor sees Schwarzenegger in that little cabin and all that, and Grace has to pull up the shotgun so he's not being shot, because that's why she's pissed off. So you kind of get that when you go see the movie, and it's like, okay, so now that's why. Okay, so now that I kind of got that out of the way there after a couple of minutes of chatting about that, let's get on to some of the other stuff here. So I'm just going to throw out, just so like I said, some main points here and there, and I'm sure if there's anything I missed, you guys can comment down in the section there, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can about, what I personally think about it or not on there. So one of the first things I want to talk about, let's talk about the villain here. Let's talk about the Rev 9. So when he first shows up, and of course he actually shows up at the apartments of Danny, her brother, and their father. Well, Danny and her brother just left to work into the factory that they're going to. And the thing is that the Rev 9 comes, of course, comes out of his little bubble, and there he is naked and all that, needs clothes. And what happens is, there's a woman there. I don't know if she's a maid or not, but there's a woman standing there, and she's holding this flannel shirt. He goes over, touches the shirt, and he can pretty much mimic that shirt, and it goes right onto his skin. So I thought that was actually freaking cool. When I saw that, I thought, yeah, I do love that. I really do. Something different. Sadly, they don't use that too much more in there. And they don't actually show it. And I wish they would have. I wish they would have shown when he goes to the apartment. I don't know how he knew, but of course, being a robot, they probably gave him the address. And sees the father. He touches the father, but they never show what would have happened. With the father's skin would have melted off. how would they have actually did that? But they show it with a shirt and that's it. But I would have loved to see him touch a human being and do that. Well, unfortunately, it seems like anytime he gets lucky enough to ever touch definitely not really a human being, he's fighting with Grace, who we really can't turn into, I guess. And he turns, he's fighting with the Terminator. I think at one point he tried to turn himself into the Terminator. It didn't quite work out. It ripped off his skin, and there was his, there's his robot arm and all that there. So unfortunately, it's like he attempted it, but it was the wrong people. I would have loved to see a little bit more details about that too, and they didn't do that there. When we first see Grace, because we see her first, she actually falls off of a bridge, and there's this couple making out, and they go over and help her out, and she actually has to fight like 3 cops and knocks them out, but doesn't kill them that I know of. And the guy's like, "Hey, thank you, lady, you saved our asses." And she walks over to him, and she actually comes over and measures her foot with his shoe and says, "Don't thank me yet." Next thing you know, she took his clothes and he's only in his boxers. So I thought that was kind of funny there too. Okay, so now let's get to Sarah Connor here. So now the thing with her is how she was able to find Grace and Danny. So the thing is that she finally explains to these two after she thought she killed the Rev 9 and all that there. And the thing is that while they're driving, she finally explains, "I keep getting these texts with coordinations of where these Terminators are coming from." So from 1998 until I believe right now, because it did say 22 years later or something like that, and that sounds about right, where the thing is that she's been hunting these Terminators. So the thing is that was the biggest reason why she was able to find them on the bridge as quickly as she was. It doesn't really bother me. I actually kind of thought it was really interesting. I'll just kind of give it away now because they don't explain it for maybe almost another hour into the movie or close to it, where it turns out Schwarzenegger's character has been sending her these texts, with, I guess, the chip in his brain and all of that. But the thing that didn't make any sense was Schwarzenegger's character was from Skynet. And the thing is that they have this new thing called Legion. Because when Grace asks Sarah, "Hey, what's all, who are you, how did you find us," and all that kind of stuff, and she starts talking about with her son John and the resistance and all that stuff, and Grace is like, "I never heard of it." Again, different timeline. I actually kind of like that she never heard of that before. I mean, instead of saying, "Oh yeah, I was there, I knew who he was," I'm kind of happy it was more stretched out that she has no idea who it is. But how would Schwarzenegger know this new company, Legion? So I don't know. I thought that was and I think one thing I forgot to mention in my spoiler-free, especially more with the bad guy, was the special effects. Every time, and here's the thing, here is a character in the movie where the old saying is, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Every time that they thought that they killed this motherfucker, he comes back stronger. And I did like the whole thing with them stretching, where you could stretch out sort of your human, not really, and the robot away from each other. And it's like, instead of having just this one guy, you actually have 2 people you got to take out. And I thought that was really cool on that too. And I liked that. Every time this guy would get his ass whooped, he would just become stronger. No, he never really became like a killing machine like Jason Voorhees, but he still had that. Every time he just kept coming back and kept coming back. And that's what I liked about the action in this. That's why I would call this one of the closest to a non-stop action movie. Really good. Now I want to get on to Grace. Now the flashbacks, where I said in my spoiler-free, they kind of, they were a bit on the slow side, but they were necessary because they would talk about Grace, and she was a soldier. I believe it was in 2042, and then she came back to our time, present time. And the thing with her was, she's trying to kill all these Terminators, and I like that. There was a couple different Terminators with different things. I wish we would have saw with the Rev 9, where they actually had, it was almost like Doc Ock from Spider-Man. They would have like these, they would have like these like little hooks and stuff on them that they would be able to, grab and kill, humans and all that. And there was about 2 or 3 of them. And Grace kind of gets really fucked up by one of them. And the thing was that, I forget exactly what it was, but she's like, I volunteer to be in whatever, this program and all that, to pretty much make her a metahuman, to make her stronger. And the thing is that they do it and all that, and they, have to help her out. There's a little bit of surgery and stuff. But the thing that really, I felt like that it was good and I liked it, but then at the same time, I wish it was more entertaining than how it was. But the thing with the character Danny, she actually, and I don't think that she sent, Grace back that I know of to, pretty much die like Kyle Reese in the first one there. But the thing is that they show that it turns out it's all about her, which you thought it was too. But they were switching it around, and Sarah Connor was saying, you know what, it's not about you, it's about your womb, because you're going to have a son, and your son's going to help out with the Legion and all that. Nope, it turned out it was all about Danny, and Danny actually saved Grace at one point from like these 3 thugs. She had food in her book bag, and they all had knives, and they were going to cut her up and kill her and take her food and all that. Well, here comes, future Danny to actually save her life and all that there. I mean, like I said, I liked it, but I felt like it should have been more entertaining with it. I don't know, I guess showing the future, maybe that's why I'm not really a big fan of the Terminator Salvation. It was like, it's great to see the war and all that, but it was just such a boring story of that movie there too. So, I mean, I really did enjoy that for what it was. Now, back with Schwarzenegger here. The thing was that after Sarah Connor, tries to kill him and Grace stops him and all that, he does explain why he's still there, which really makes me laugh because they talk about, he felt bad after he killed John Connor, and he actually pretty much found a wife, and she already had a son. The thing was, he was protecting this mother and son because of this abusive father. I would have loved to see a flashback of that, where he actually beats up this guy, maybe to the deleted scene, who knows. I would have thought that was kind of cool. They're not even really in it that much. They're in it like maybe 2 quick scenes, and that's it. Like, they both have a little bit of dialogue, but they're not really in it that much, so... I mentioned about Schwarzenegger's humor. I really like that. Like, there was a scene where he has like a shack or a shed that he actually had a bunch of guns and all that. And I can't remember who asked him. One of the females said, "So you have all these guns? Why?" And all. It's like, to protect my family and the way things are going and blah blah blah. And besides, we're in Texas. And I gotta be honest, even though there wasn't a whole lot of people in that movie theater, the showing I was in, we all had a good laugh on that one, which was really good. And I really did enjoy that for what it was. So the thing was, and I don't know if it really would have been a spoiler or not, but when I was mentioning about Danny and her arc, the thing was, at first she was just this innocent bystander. And then, by maybe the last half an hour, 45 minutes of the movie, she tries to become a badass like Sarah Connor, like Grace and all that. Now we're going to get to the ending here. Now the big final battle there where you had Grace and the T-800 with Schwarzenegger both kicking the Rev 9's ass pretty much everywhere, thinking that at one point they thought they might have killed him, but unfortunately it did not. Took off his skin. He wasn't able to grow his skin back, but there's his robot self right there. And the thing is that the only way that they were going to kill this machine was Danny had to take out this particular, I forget what it was, some kind of core thing out of Grace. Now the thing was, it was going to kill Grace. Of course, Danny didn't want to do that. No surprise, pretty cliche there. But the thing is, Grace was able to convince her to say, you know what, cut me open and get this fucking thing and kill that motherfucker kind of thing. So the thing was, of course, at one point, of course, Danny thinks that she's going to do it, and she becomes a badass, which I actually had no problem with it at this one point because I really liked it, because she had the attitude, and then she gets the gun at the last like 10 minutes of the movie or whatever, and she starts shooting it. And the thing was, all she had to do was get this core close to it. I guess not like stab it seemed like. There was this machine that they were pushing the Rev 9 in, and of course it blows up. He flies away, and it looks like he's dead. Well, the thing is, while the Rev 9 is attacking Danny, you got Sarah Connor yelling at Schwarzenegger's character, get up, save her, and all this kind of stuff. His eyes both wide open, even though half of his face is gone. So he has one regular eye and his robot red eye, and he actually grabs the Rev 9, and I believe he grabs him, and I think he actually stabs him with it. The thing is, there was this big gap in the floor, and of course the Rev 9 and Schwarzenegger both fall down this hole here, and the thing is that they both actually die. And that's kind of it on my spoiler there, but I'm wondering, is this really going to be the one that Schwarzenegger dies? He's died so many times in these movies as the Terminator, good or bad. He came back, But if you've seen this movie, and even if you haven't, you watched my review anyways, do you think he'll come back? I truthfully think he will, honestly. So thank you guys here so much for watching my spoiler video here for Terminator Dark Fate. I do appreciate that there. Give me a like, subscribe, hit that notification button here, and as always, stay